Everyone, Michael Ray here, and I wanted to show you the top things you should be doing to have a high converting website when it comes to design and so forth. I've been in the web design world now since 2011, so I understand, the do's and don'ts and the I wish you could do or don't want to do. When it comes to urgent care, one of the primary things that they all care about is how to book online. But let's kind of talk through when it comes to designing out your site. So if you have an urgent care that's been around for a while, we'll talk single versus multi-location. When it comes to certain things, some of you are convinced that having a call to action for like a pay your bill is important. Well, it is important. It shouldn't be the primary. And then you need to think about your audience from a mobile standpoint and all the different items. So let's go through a couple of things that really make a difference in a high converting website. Number one is simply having a very obvious call to action. So when you have a save your spot online, gives the assumption to the user that if I click on this, it will allow me to book something online to get me in a spot somewhere, in a location somewhere. Now, it seems obvious, right? But you need to make sure that it's consistent. So when it comes to your call to action, making sure you have a consistent call to action wherever it goes. So it's saying the same thing. So the same expectations happening every single time. And it's obvious. And it may seem weird to repeat yourself, but people don't read everything you want them to read. They skip right through. Also, in this country, with English being the number one language, you typically read from top left to bottom right. So in your eyes, they generally, in the design of a website, the eyes start top left and they start moving to the right and start going down. So right here, we can see where we have their logo. So you've identified the right place. That's important. Some people put logos in the middle. Some put them on the right, but very rare. Don't recommend it. But the biggest thing is you have to have some type of logo, some type of identification. And then to the right, you're going to have your spot online piece and whatnot. And then down again. So like within this nice little cut of the screen, you can see that. All right. So it's very important that you have that. It's very consistent. Next thing when it comes to high converting websites, reduce your clicks. So when it comes to reducing your clicks, it's like how many clicks does it take to take an action? Obviously, if you can do it in one action, that's fantastic. If one click equals one action, then it's a win. That's not practical in all cases. So in a single location case, it's very practical. If this was a single location urgent care website, then it would be a book online. It would click and go book online immediately. Or if it was call now, it would be a single phone number they would call. But if you're multi-location, that's not as practical unless you have a single booking online group thing, but that's not very common. Or you have a single phone number that represents all your locations. So, but even then becomes a little bit of a challenge because if they call your location as a single like unified phone number, then they have to go through prompts. They have to take additional clicks per se to get to the right place. So you have to think through that. The fewer steps you have, the less resistance you have, so the higher chance of converting someone. But kind of keep that in mind as you go through that. So in that design, so we talked about the consistent call to action, the importance of the call to action, and it shouldn't be paying your bill. And number two is all about reducing those clicks. Sounds good? Awesome. Number three is that you want to make sure that it looks real. So there is a challenge, like this particular one has some stock photos. That's a stock photo. But as you move down, you see real people. So try to make it as real as possible. Now, sometimes there's limits to this, and I understand. But if you can swap all your stock for real photos and real video, you tend to win a little bit more. Here's the reason why, though. People, when we look at the analytics of a site, we see that most people go to the homepage, they'll go to the location page, and they'll go to the doctor team page. That's where they live. So they want to see who's going to come see me as a doctor, right? Like I want to know who I'm dealing with. And if you can't provide that, it's understandable, but people go there. So you want to make sure like you don't use stock photos for your doctors. You use like real photos, or maybe you just don't have them out there until they have real photos, which they should. And then a team photo is always useful, not required. And just as a fair warning, when you take a team photo, usually a week later, somebody quits. It's just the nature of that. Been there, done that quite many times. So yeah, so you take that. So it allows that convincing part of this is a real company. They do good work. Maybe they even recognize. It's one of the unique things I've seen in the past where when we uploaded new photos of a client and then it's like their headshots and all the things, they'll get comments like, I didn't know that this was your urgent care. I didn't know this was your business. I thought you were part of something else. Really cool to see that. We'll see those comments. So it's super important to show that. So I wanted to showcase that. So we've done now the clear call to action, the reducive clicks, and then making things real. The next one I would encourage is general content. So when it comes to converting websites, you need to make sure you're putting out good content. And good content's one of those things where it needs to be reflective of your area. So you want to educate. If your urgent care is in a mountainous area that has lots of hiking and stuff, you should probably write some articles around that if you can. Or if there's something very unique in the area that you want to write some blogs on, that's good too, because it just helps them convince them, "Yeah, you do care about the community and that's super important." So it's something I really encourage. It doesn't require a ton of effort, but it is something that does happen because we see it too. We see when some of our better performing blog articles for certain clients reflect those things that are really related to their location quite a bit, not just the generic type of item. So I just wanted to point that out as well. Other things worth noting too. So we've gone through those four, and then really the fifth one I would say is just that consistency with information. If you present, and this is not just from a pure converting standpoint, but it's also from a pure how Google reads you and other things, but you want to be consistent. So I scroll down to the bottom right here to kind of show. So in our footer, we have here, hours and services and location information, right? This is a 2-location urgent care, so not overly complicated, but those hours should be reflective on the locations as well. And then if you have an online scheduler, that it has the same hours, and your Google business profile has the same hours and the same phone numbers and all the same things. Because if you don't, there's like, are you open now or later? I personally have gone through this where I was going to book on something online. I went to their website and it said they were open till 9 p.m. It may have been like 7:30. I was like, okay, cool. But then I had clicked on their Facebook and it said something about in their hours listed something different. It's like, well, maybe they aren't open. And then I got distracted and I never called them because I just lost my path. So when making sure if you're updating hours, you're updating anything, be consistent across the board because people are going to look in all sorts of different ways and needs to be consistent so you can be converting them regularly. So to sum things up for you, just kind of walk through it is, you're trying to get that call to action clean and simple. Save your spot online, you see everywhere, right? Next, you're trying to reduce those clicks. So you're trying to make sure they're happening as soon as they can, that they're engaging as soon as they can. The fewer clicks, the higher to convert. Next is that you're going from fake to real. Nothing wrong with stock photos. Would be a little resistant on AI photos still from today. You can get real ones, please go get real photos. It's not that expensive. It's totally worth it. And also as a side note, if you do it right, you can get a year's worth of content from a single photo shoot if you just think it through pretty easily. Then after that, you're kind of looking at the overall in terms of the consistency of everything. So when it comes to consistency, are you putting out the hours and all the information? Also including are you posting you're posting the right information related to your location and making sure it's like very related to it. And then the final thing is the consistency of location information that that when they engage you on any platform, including your website, that they're getting the same experience with the same info each time. I hope this is super helpful. I'd love to help you out any way I can. And if you want me to go out there and like, hey, send me your website link and just tell me what I could be doing better, I have to do that for free. Just something we like to do. It's actually kind of fun. And then let me know if there's anything we can do for you. Thanks.